Welcome to The Lock Shop with Nielson and Hustler, powered by Coolbet Canada.
Lock Shoppers, what's up? How you doing? It's Thursday. I know at the end of yesterday's episode, we're like, we'll talk to you on Friday. And then we wrap up, and Hus and I are talking after. We're like, well, you know, there is 10 games in the National Hockey League on Thursday, and there is an XFL Thursday nighter. Hus, there's a lot of reasons to do a Lock Shop today, isn't there?
What the heck? We probably would have been chopping it up anyways. May as well throw the cameras on and welcome everyone in. We certainly are going to get some picks in for tonight's games. Big slate, as you mentioned. And listen, XFL Week 2 starting tonight. So we got to hit that big tilt in the new league as well. And listen, I'm just happy to talk about tonight's games.
Yeah.
And move on from yesterday. Tough loss for the Jets. And it's crazy, man. By the way, folks, if you want, check out Winnipeg Sports Talk coming up. I've got a great conversation coming up with Travis Yost, just where we compare how strong the East is to how weak the West is, but also by that token, how wide open the West is, which is an interesting topic heading into next week's trade deadline. That will feature prominently in some picks coming up for these games tonight. But lost to the Islanders last night. We ended up sitting there cheering for the Arizona Coyotes and the Chicago Blackhawks. That's where it's at right now. Stress levels are high here in the Peg after this latest road trip for the Jets.
Well, I actually hit the Lock Shop play of the day. I went under 5.5 in the Jets Islanders game. I mean, Hellebuck and Sorokin. It was a pretty easy play for me. That was the justification behind it, and it worked. So make sure you're watching Cool Bet Socials. We'll have another Lock Shop play of the day coming up for you. I don't know if I dive into that McDavid Crosby head-to-head tonight, or if I go to the XFL game. I mean, be my first. Did you hit the XFL last week? Did you do that on Friday?
I did. I did a 5-gamer, 2 curling, 3 XFL parlay, and ended up. And I think I went 3 for 5 on it. It didn't cash, unfortunately. That being said, we'll get right back to the well this weekend.
Yes, we will. Gitch is on the Twitter store, on the YouTube chat, saying so many games in the NHL means some juicy parlays tonight for Gitch, right? Makes sense. Doesn't surprise me.
About it. And you just mentioned that nice pick, by the way, with the under in that game. The Jets are having such a tough time scoring. Absolutely nothing from the bottom 6 in the better part of the last month. It'd be interesting to go back over the last 15 games. Just off the top of my head, I bet the under is probably at least 10-5 in the last 15 games for the Jets right now. So, anyways, those are some trends. Hopefully that'll change. The team's been good at home. They've got 6 of the next 7 at home. Huge game tomorrow night against the Colorado Avalanche. But that's Friday. We've got a big slate on Thursday to focus on before we get to the.
And we'll get to it right away. Just follow up on the Jets, because I looked into this when I made that play yesterday. I think they're they hadn't hit an over in 10. It was like 8 unders and a push or something along those lines. It was one of the Islanders or the Jets on that yesterday. I think it was the Jets. So, the trends kind of backed it up. The goaltending matchup backed it up. So it was a nice hit yesterday, and another one coming your way today. But let's dive into our puck picks for tonight. Busy slate in the National Hockey League. We got a couple of parlays for you. I've got one that's mostly built to be a parlay here. A couple of plays that I probably wouldn't hop on individually, a little chalky, but I like them into a parlay that'll still play plus 282. Hus, this is part of your new strategy here, right? This is let's dive into this a bit.
Well, listen, I mean, the one thing that we do know right now, and I mean, it was in very, very clear as the Jets had those 4 games out in the East, is just how much stronger and more consistent the Eastern teams are than all of these teams in the West, even playoff teams, even teams pushing for first place in their divisions. They're just not up to that level of those top tier teams that are in the playoffs right now in the Eastern Conference. Now, listen, my first pick is the Rangers. They're taking on Detroit. Detroit does make me nervous. They've got a lot of momentum right now. They had that huge win over the Washington Capitals in their last time out, and they're at home tonight. But man, that Ranger team is really, really good. And I have to think that they'll be very focused to pop a few in after getting Hellebucked earlier this week in their last time out when Hellebuck made those 50 saves. The Rangers, I think, is some good value at minus 143, even though this is probably the game that makes me most nervous on this 3-game parlay. So we're going to take the Rangers to get back in the win column in Detroit at Little Caesars Arena at minus 143. And then more often than not, when I'm looking at these games, we're thinking about the teams, who they've been playing, where they're at. And I think you can almost just fade Western teams against some of the better teams in the East. And, we're looking at the LA Kings, who have been a crazy story all year long. I mean, looking right now at the standings, have they got themselves? Okay, they're now +2 goal differential for the entire season, which is, I mean, a number that just makes absolutely no sense. They haven't been able to keep the puck out of their net. I was really impressed with what Jersey was able to do, especially in that third period against Winnipeg earlier this week. So you've got the Jersey Devils at home taking on an LA Kings team that, as I say, I think is just not up to that level of those top-tier teams in the East. I think we're getting a pretty good number with New Jersey at minus 152. So we'll throw the Devils on as well. And then, listen, the Boston Bruins have been the class of the league all year long. And it's funny, they're taking on the Seattle Kraken. And if you recall, the Bruins went without a regulation loss at home for more than the first half of the season. You know who beat them? The Seattle Kraken. I have a feeling the Bruins return the favor tonight. Kraken have not been very good as of late. And listen, the Bruins are the team to beat right now in the entire National Hockey League at minus 172. So I'll be playing these separately, but I am going to put these 3 together on a 3-game parlay, which is paying plus 346. And then I've actually done a secondary parlay as well, adding in the Lightning puck line at home against the Buffalo Sabres, who I think are reeling a little bit. And listen, I know they've got a bunch of makeup games, but they're going up against some of the best teams in the league. We saw what the Leafs did to them earlier this week. I have a feeling it'll be more of the same. Now, the Lightning are minus 240 on the money line, but plus 104 on the puck line. I do like that. And I've added
bump it up.
I've added that to those 3 for a plus 809 parlay. So I've got a couple going on. Lots of action tonight. This is sort of the more conservative one at plus 346. I really like these 3 games. But we're going to take a bit of a bigger swing as well, adding the Lightning puck line to these 3 picks for a parlay in excess of 8-1.
And I've got a parlay where I'll get on McDavid goal solo here at minus 118. And then the other 2, I kind of adjusted things a little bit to get a parlay that's almost 3-1, plus 282. And I feel really good about it. Now, it's tough to say you feel really good about anything going on with Washington right now. They've lost 5 in a row. They get the Ducks tonight. Ducks have lost 6 in a row. Ducks have this thing. I mean, they've checked out. Capitals are getting Alexander Ovechkin back tonight. First game that he's played since he lost his father. The team just went 0-4 without him. I mean, I think having him back, of course, will help with his goal-scoring ability, but will probably help that team to be like, okay, it's time to stop effing around and get this season back on track. So Washington in regulation tonight at minus 208 against the Anaheim Ducks. Hus mentioned it, New York Rangers. Now, Detroit's been kind of stingy defensively recently, more so than they were earlier in the year, which has led to some of the success that they've had. The New York Rangers have only scored 3 goals in their last 2 games, but this was after going on a stretch of 7 straight games with 4 goals or more. So the number where if you want to play this on its own, take it to 3.5, and you're going to get a pretty good number on that. With the way that Detroit's kind of locked things down lately, I'm just playing it safer because I'm throwing it into the parlay. So Rangers over 2.5 goals tonight, which is something they were accomplishing with so much ease right after they got Tarasenko. And I think their offense is more like the one that's going to score 3-4 goals a game than the one that recently scored 3 and 2 goal games combined. So Rangers over 2.5 goals, Washington in regulation, and then Connor McDavid with a goal tonight. Last game, the third period against Philly, he just took over. And so in that game, McDavid had 9 shots on goal. The rest of the forwards had 8 shots on goal combined. Like, McDavid had a mindset. He's going up against Sidney Crosby tonight. You know, it's a big game for both teams. I think McDavid's going to have that shoot-first mindset going tonight. And as Gitch in the YouTube chat says, McDavid's shot on goal prop hits the over every single game. And it really, I mean, it should be adjusted to 4.5, not 3.5. But I like McDavid tonight in the spotlight against Sidney Crosby to find the back of the net at minus 118. You put those 3 together, and the parlay pays plus 282.
Not betting related, but can we just quickly talk about that move that McDavid made against Philly?
buddy.
I've never seen anything like that. Like that was straight up yoga bonita, Brazilian soccer. He's doing things that we've never seen done before. And you wonder what the Oilers would be without him right now, but I'm sure no one in Edmonton wants to even think about that. But
that was insane though. Like he made that look like I don't even think other players think to attempt that, let alone have the ability to not only attempt it, but pull it off. I wish he would have put that in the back of the net at the end of that play because it would have been on highlight reels forever. Yeah, it's crazy.
He's playing a different game at times than most of the other guys in this league. But I just had to mention that. I mean, we always use that term, oh my God, it got people out of their seats. I was sitting at home alone watching highlights and literally got out of my seat. What the hell did I just see? And had to rewind that thing 4 or 5 times. The replays, I'm not sure even do it justice when you consider he did that to those two guys at such high speed. Man, he's fun to watch right now. And maybe a little bit more fun when he's not playing against your team. We'll get into that with that big home and home between the Jets and Oilers next week on trade deadline day and then the following Saturday. But you could do a lot worse than ride with McDavid right now, whether it's goal props, shot props, or just sitting back and watching the magic that he's
his shot prop, Chaz just pointed out in the YouTube chat, and I'm looking at it right now, and it is at 4.5 tonight. It's plus 100 with that shot prop at 4.5. Gensel's at 3.5. Draisaitl and Sidney Crosby are at 2.5 at minus 154. So I don't know, might throw those into a parlay somewhere. That's Sidney Crosby going up against McDavid. Shot total there. I don't mind that. Tristan Jarry versus Stuart Skinner, I believe, tonight in that game. The total is at 7 in that game. Right. I think there's 2 7s on the board tonight over at Coolbet. Who's the other one? I think there's 2 7s. Maybe I'm wrong.
The other, it's Buffalo and the Lightning.
Yeah, well, Canucks and Blues was at 7 last night. It's at 6. It's at 6.5 now too. So yeah, it looked like could have been possibly been 3 7s on that board. All right, Huss. So there's your puck picks for Thursday night action in the National Hockey League, but also Thursday night action in the XFL as the Sea Dragons set to have their home opener here, buddy.
Yeah, well, listen, we've got 1 week in, and I think we're still trying to sort of really learn about these teams. The Battlehawks the St. Louis team was very, very well supported in that first year, and then obviously everything went away. And they came back and actually looked terrible for the majority of their game, and then had a quintessential XFL comeback victory with the touchdown, the 3-point convert, the 4th and 15, their version of the onside kick, and getting it done. Meanwhile, the Seattle Dragons were a little disappointing in that first game. I have kind of leaned on coaches so far. I guess I was 2 for 3 in the first week. But I'm going to lean on Seattle. And it's weird. We normally wouldn't see this. I mean, the line in this game is minus 2.5. At minus 156.
Minus 156. Yeah.
And the over and the plus 2.5 is plus 127. I mean, traditionally, I think we just see that number move to 3 or 3.5.
At that point.
Here's the other thing I'm going to be paying close attention to. Of course, we are watching and betting on these games, thinking of traditional scoring in the National Football League in 4-point games. I'm not sure that threshold of 3 is as key in the XFL as it is in the NFL because of the 3-point converts, the potential of scoring 9 points on a single touchdown and all of that. So, I mean, listen, I like Seattle on this. We'll take the point. We'll lay the points as opposed to taking the minus 200 on the money line. But as I say, we're kind of easing into the season, learning a bit more in these first couple of weeks. But with a standalone primetime XFL game, there was no chance we weren't going to sprinkle on it in the line.
Of course, we were going to get on this thing. I mean, we had to. Look, see, I can't believe I spent last night and part of this morning reading a preview for this game from 3 different sources. But what I saw was that the Dragons last week gave their game away. Yeah, right? They just they pissed that game away. They should have had it. A fumble on the 1 yard line, a pick six from Ben DiNucci. By all accounts, the Seahawks have the most explosive wide receiver group in the XFL, which features Josh Gordon, right? Josh Gordon had that nice little, I think somebody referred to as a Patrick Mahomes style flip from DiNucci to Gordon in the end zone in that game. So Seattle at home, -2.5. I'm riding with Hus on this one. It's the first ever lock shop unanimous XFL pick. We never got one wrong. So hop on it with us tonight, I think.
DiNucci, like the Seattle outgained DC 331 to 177. And it basically happened. Ben DiNucci fumbled on the goal line with seconds left. And DiNucci, just the fact that I'd heard of him and he had played a little bit in the National Football League is another reason why I like them. So, hey, we got burnt. That was the one loss on week 1 on the card. But the Sea Dragons come back. They do have a good coach and Jim Haslett. They actually, I think, will have some fans there for this game. I'm not sure whether we're going to be able to watch it. I was sort of perusing the evening's television listings to see whether this game's going to be on.
ESPN Plus? Is that an ESPN Plus game?
Might have to sit back and watch one of the 10 NHL games tonight. But rest assured, if the XFL is available, maybe we'll look for a stream somewhere if we can pick it up.
Well, we'll have more XFL betting tomorrow on the Lock Shop, along with 6 games in the National Hockey League as well. Go Dragons tonight, -2.5. You know what? By week 3 or 4, we're going to know a lot about the XFL teams. And I cannot wait to sit here and legitimately be like, there's no way the Dragons blow this tonight. It's going to be good. I like it.
I'm holding off until the completion of week 3 to officially claim my team. Because things are a little different. I was a big DC guy in the first year. I really like St. Louis, but we'll get an idea of a few more of these teams, who's competitive. And as I say, the one thing is, did love Wade Phillips. It's funny seeing Wade back in charge. He's such a
June Jones on the sideline as well. This
great offensive master. You don't think June Jones is cooking up some great 3-point convert plays? Yeah. I guarantee you he is.
We'll talk to you tomorrow on the Lock Shop. See you later, Hus.